Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the 143. This is episode 125. We're coming at you live. How are we doing today, Nick?
We're doing good. Got another banger inbound. As per usual, nothing but pure, fresh, good content. And so that's what we have for you this week.
Yeah, so today we're just doing our future division winner picks for the NFL as we do our too early predictions episode for you. Started off with the stat of the week, brought to you by our sponsor, Andrews Logistics. The stat is the Detroit Lions broke their 30-year drought and finally won the division last year, winning the Central North. Winning the North. That's a mistake on my part. Winning the North. And the interesting thing about the Lions, again, this year, brought back pretty much all their coaches, most of their team. Everyone's saying they got to contend with the Bears this year. So the Bears and the Packers, maybe the Vikings. Could be a tough North. Will be interesting to see. We'll talk about it here in a little bit. But the Lions, 30-year drought snapped last year.
Huge for the program, led by your player of the week, Jared Goff. Upcoming big season inbound. He's about to solidify himself as an upper echelon quarterback in the league. He threw for over 4,000 yards last year, 3 touchdowns to 12 interceptions, nothing but consistent. I'd say he was pretty solid quarterback last year.
I mean, probably should have gone to the Super Bowl.
Played at a high level, gave the 49ers a run for their money.
Receivers just started dropping balls.
I was about to say, a lot of people very well thought by halftime, man, we might see the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. But obviously that didn't happen. But you got to give them props for that.
No, they came out of nowhere.
For so long and then just coming out and being absolutely lethal.
A lot of credit goes to Dan Campbell, the coach, MCDC Motor City Dan Campbell, with his ferocity and tenacity. But enough about the Lions. Let's jump into the league, shall we?
Let's just go ahead and get the NFC East out of the way because that's,
Yeah, yep. Obviously, we're picking the Cowboys. Not sure if we believe in it or not, but
obviously the Cowboys is going to be our pick to win, but confidence level, very low.
Can't pick anybody else, though, because we hate all the other teams, so especially the Eagles. Nick, funny story. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I asked them, or they said something about how they don't like the Chiefs, and I was like, oh, okay, like, what's your favorite NFL team? And they said Cowboys, and I was like, cool, man, like, that's sick, And they were like, probably, like, Cowboys and Eagles, and I was like, you don't watch football.
Were they 6 years old?
They were not, but they were our age. But, I drew from that they don't really watch football because you can't root for the Cowboys and the Eagles,
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, so it's not really a 1A, 1B situation. That's more like you love one and you absolutely despise the other. So that was just a little bit of a conversation that I thought.
A little tidbit.
Yeah. NFC North, we just talked about them. Nick, who's your pick?
We're gonna put this Bears garbage to bed. All right. It's not gonna be the Bears. They're gonna be duking it out at the bottom of the division. I'm picking the Detroit Lions to go back to back. That's what I think. I think the Lions, they got a whole new culture built there. Okay. They've seen what they're capable of. All the pieces are falling into place. They're seeing how they fit together. All right. They've figured it out. And I think they're gonna go back to back.
They absolutely have. We were high on the Lions last year. Loved seeing them be successful. Here's my thing, okay? These too early predictions, even though they're too early, me and Nick, we stay true to these things throughout the season. We root for the teams that we pick, to win their division. And that's why I'm going with the Vikings, because I think that, first of all, the Vikings have a great offense in terms of all their weapons. Now, the question mark is at quarterback, and that's not a great question mark to have. But I think their head coach can work well with any quarterback, as he proved with the Dobbs kid that one game. I think Kevin O'Connell is a really good head coach. I think the Vikings this year with Sam Darnold, I think they could be a threat in the NFC North. I'm never, ever in my life going to pick the Packers. Okay. And I understand the Packers are probably
Very
going to be
fair.
good. I can't stand the Packers, but I think the Packers have a legitimate shot. I will say the team I don't think has a legitimate shot is the Bears. So I'm tired of hearing about it. All right. I'm just tired. When we saw we said this before, we saw Caleb Williams play in big games against good defenses, and he threw a bunch of picks. And I think that's going to happen in the NFL.
Also, I mean, I was contemplating the Vikings myself. It's also, this is just a personal thing. It's easy for me to root for Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Just because, he played for the Jets, and then everyone was like, oh, he needs a shot somewhere else. And then he goes to Carolina, and it's
that's not a shot.
Yeah, like that's going to be any different.
Yeah.
He goes to San Francisco, where he sat as the backup. And so now he's getting this is where we get a true test and get to truly see, is this guy actually talented, or has he been horrible this entire time?
I think he could be a really good replacement for Kirk Cousins,
And I think he's also a lot younger than what people think.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
I found out how old he actually was like a month ago, and I was like, this dude's been in the league for like 4 years.
Exactly.
There's no way. But I mean, hey, the Vikings could easily be sleeper pick. So
absolutely.
NFC South.
Yeah.
There's some. That's easily the thing. The NFC South is very competitive, but not in a good way, because if you finish above 500, chances are you're winning the division.
Yeah.
Because that's what it comes down to.
Exactly. And you still get a home playoff game. So, hey, man, that's whatever. Whatever works.
I would like to think the Falcons, but it's just not there.
Yeah, can't do it.
They had the opportunity to do something in the first round of the draft, make a good pick, get someone that was going to help them. And what they do, they drafted a quarterback.
Yep.
Okay. Didn't need that. Obviously, Panthers aren't going to do any good. I'm thinking it's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, I realize that's lame to choose the team that won it last year, but, I mean, they've got a plethora of offensive weapons there.
No, I mean, I'm on the Bucs too. I think the Saints, they've got a lot to figure out. The Saints are all over the place right now, and I think the Saints have so much cap problems. I just don't see the Saints doing anything. Panthers will obviously not. I don't think the Panthers will be as bad as they were before, but I think that they will still be bad. And obviously the Falcons just don't know what they're doing. And so I think the Bucs win it. I could see the Falcons still winning it, but I think I'm going to take the Bucs as well. NFC West. I think it's hard to not take the 49ers. They were so good last year.
They're they're getting basically everybody back.
Yep.
Roster-wise, Kyle Shanahan's just such a good coach. I don't really think there's much of a discussion for that one.
Only team maybe could beat them is the Rams, but Shanahan is great, and obviously they have all their guys back, like you said.
But it's like the 49ers could very well win 14, 15 games every year.
Yeah.
And so that's just tough to compete.
There are a lot of people Super Bowl picks, so it's like, they're winning their division. So AFC East.
That one's an interesting one.
Aaron Rodgers is back.
I mean, I'm not going to root for him because,
Absolutely not.
He's Aaron Rodgers. There's a lot of bad blood there as a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
I was kind of on that Bills train for a little bit, but I don't know how I feel about Josh Allen. Too inconsistent for me. But I think it might be the time for the Dolphins to take it.
Don't jump on the bandwagon now, okay? I've been on the Dolphins for a couple years. I've been with them through thick and thin. Dolphins are my team.
You know what? I'll just switch it up. I'll go sleeper pick. I know I just said I won't take them, but, I mean, who cares? I'll do it. The New York Jets, I think they'll do it.
Hey, they
I'll
could.
change it up.
They could.
I don't
I
want
didn't
to. I
think
don't
you were
want
going to
to.
say that.
I don't want to pick the Bills again. I'm kind
So
of
you
tired of
can
rooting
pick
for
the
the Buffalo
Dolphins. I was
Bills.
just going to give you a hard time for picking them, but you can pick them. I'm not saying you can't
No.
pick the Dolphins. Follow your heart. Actually, though, the Dolphins just got OBJ, and OBJ is not great for any team. So
Yeah, that's another thing I was going to say is everyone was kind of going crazy. I saw someone post something where it was like, "Who's stopping this offense?" And it's like they added Odell
yeah,
Beckham Jr.
the Chiefs
Okay,
stopped it pretty
Sure.
easily last year. So
I mean, honestly,
look,
I'll tell you, stopping that offense, Tua.
unless you're the number one seed, like you got to go play on the road, and most of these potential division winners coming in the AFC, they're in the cold. So you don't really get to use the excuse of it was cold, so we couldn't play good. Like you got to play good in the cold if you're wanting to go anywhere, because Arrowhead, Baltimore, like Arrowhead, Baltimore. I mean, all the AFC
Pittsburgh,
North.
Cincinnati,
Yeah, like
Cleveland, that
pretty
entire
pretty much everywhere that you're going to
Wait,
be
you
playing.
mean you have to battle and overcome adversity?
Yeah,
Really? Who'd
sorry,
have
it's
thunk
not.
it?
Unless you're the number one seed, you don't get to play in Miami in the playoffs. So, but yeah, I'm going to take the Dolphins. I think really it's because the Bills got worse and the Dolphins stayed the same. So,
The Bills are just not clutch.
yeah,
Like
they're not.
that's just what it comes down to. They're
Yeah,
the Cowboys of the AFC.
exactly. They are, but nobody wants to talk about it.
Unfortunately.
But I'm going to go with the Dolphins. Now we get to some interesting ones. Or one interesting one. AFC North.
That one, that's a. I mean, obviously, a lot of people I think are going to pick Baltimore to go back to back, but there is a change of scenery in Pittsburgh,
Hmm.
and via the quarterback room,
Yep.
I think they drafted well. Also,
Cleveland was good, and they get Nick Chubb back as well.
mm-hmm. And then, the Bengals, they had an off year last season, but that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase duo has proven time and time again to be lethal. So you never know. It could very well be the Bengals. It just depends on what Joe Burrow we see. If he's at 100%, that one. I mean, I got to be honest. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
Who I think. I don't want to say the Ravens go back to back because I think that's lame, but I'm gonna go Cincinnati. That's who I think is gonna do it. I think Joe Burrow's gonna come back healthy, better than ever, with a vengeance. That chip on his shoulder. I think they're gonna do it.
I'm also gonna go Cincinnati just because I love Joe Burrow. He's a competitor. He's a winner. I mean that's what he does, and love the Jamar Chase connection. I mean, the Bengals, they're a good team. They just lost Joe. And when that happens, your season's over. Like we saw from the Jets. The Jets could very well win their division now that they have their quarterback. So it's like you got to have your quarterback. So I'm going to pick the Bengals as well. Now, I would think it's interesting if the Steelers win it, but I'm never going to pick the Steelers as a Cowboys fan. But the Steelers are a lot better this year. A lot better. So I think the Steelers will give them a run for their money. I don't believe in Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry. I just don't. So I've said it before. He's a glorified running back.
I do think that's
quarterback money.
That one. I think the AFC North. That'll probably be the most competitive division.
Yeah. Besides the Bengals last year, it was pretty competitive.
I would assume. Yeah, I was going to say I think that will be the most competitive division. But let's move on. AFC West. Obviously, you got the Chiefs there. And
I'm going Chiefs. I'm sorry. I'm just going Chiefs.
I mean, it's tough to stop Patrick Mahomes. I'm a Jim Harbaugh fan.
It's not their year.
But I don't think, it's going to be his first year in the NFL. It's not
their year.
He's got to start.
I could see him sneaking in wild card, but I don't know about winning the division.
Obviously, the Raiders are awful, and they're going to be awful forever.
And the Broncos have Bo Nix and Zach Wilson.
Do not have a quarterback.
I think every team got worse around the Chiefs, and like even the Chargers, they got a great coach, but they lost all their receivers, and
didn't draft a receiver.
Yeah, Guyton even left. Like most of their receivers are gone, and Quentin Johnson dropped the ball enough for me to not be confident in him. I do think the Chiefs will be hungry for this 3 in a row. I
I think
think.
they're going to win it again. The division, I mean, I don't know about Super
Yeah,
Bowl
I think they'll win the
situation.
division. Hey, we'll do the playoff predictions later. But
That one,
yeah,
not much to talk about. Like Joseph said, everyone else got worse or at the very least stayed the same.
I mean, it'd
So
be crazy not to pick KC in the too early predictions unless something happens between now and then. But yeah, I think we're both going to agree on the AFC South as well. I mean, I know for me, I'm a big Stroud guy. I like CJ Stroud. I want to see the Texans. I think they'll win theirs again. Also, kind of the same thing. I think the Jags got worse. Titans have never been good, or they haven't been good in a while. And then it could be a little bit more competitive. The Colts could be good. The Colts could take it, but I'm going to go Texans.
I'm going to say Colts.
Oh, really?
I think Anthony Richardson, he's due for a bounce back season. We saw a little,
Yeah.
very tiny snippet of his career, and he was pretty electric to watch.
I mean, the Colts almost had it without him, too.
I
It
think
was
if
like
he
the last play
stays
of the game.
healthy, they very well could win it all. The division, I mean, not the whole thing. I'm sorry, when I say win it all, I mean the AFC South. Obviously, the
Yeah.
Texans will be looking to go back-to-back. Big addition for them was Stephon Diggs in the offseason. That just makes their offensive arsenal absolutely lethal. You know, they're going to be wanting to build on what they made last year, but I think the Colts are going to do it. You know, Anthony Richardson's going to be back. He's going to be hungry. If he can stay healthy, I think they're going to win it.
I think it's between the Texans and the Colts. And I think those games between those two teams will be pretty fun to watch. It should be a great NFL season once again.
Oh, absolutely. So, viewers like to end our shows in underview. I brought you a quote from the Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, baby.
He said,
Shaq.
"Excellence is not a singular act, but a habit. You are what you do repeatedly." That's the truth.
Amen. Take that with you this week. We appreciate you listening as usual. And we will see you next week with another episode of Under Review.